What's good? What's good? What's good? You tune in Apartment 5B, hosted by your man Kill. As usual, got the usual suspects with me. My squad, as always, ladies first. Porsche, what's going on, miss?
Not a whole lot, Kill. How are you?
All right, everything's good. Everything is good. My man Eddie out in LA. What's going on, good brother?
Hey, I'm good, bro. I'm ready to get it.
All right. Veg out of BK. What's going on, good brother?
Chilling, man.
All right.
No complaints. Friday's almost here.
It's always a good thing. And I got my man, first time chopping up with us, Tita God out of Chicago, man. What's going on,
Yes,
fam?
I'm good, man. Grateful to be here. Appreciate y'all having me.
Oh, man, it's all love. It's all love. Just long story short, I forgot how we linked up. I think you sent me the album to check it out. And, like, I hit you right back like, yo, this shit's stupid. You know what I mean? So the joint was stupid. So, you know, it don't take much. If you dope, you're going to end up on it anyway. So, you know, I mean, definitely a pleasure having you chopping it up with us for the first time. Prayerfully won't be the last. Y'all know me. Let's get right into it. Porsche will always hit me with dope ideas, thinking they're not dope ideas, but they're dope ideas. So she'll be like, "Yo, I got an idea for a show, but I don't know." And I'm always like, "Nigga, we've been doing this 3 years. Like, it's we go with all your ideas." So the week, Porsche will go into it, but basically, y'all know us. I try once a month, once every 2 months, to do a salute show to somebody, producer, MC, group, or something like that. Our favorite songs when we first heard them, all that good stuff. Just to salute them while they still here and give them they flowers while they still with us. And this week's show is going to be the Nas. But there's a little asterisk on this. Porsche, you want to explain why there's an asterisk on this show?
Sure. So, I mean, we've all heard Nas say, I think he said it in interviews, he said it in typed out, written, that he's so much more than Illmatic. So he doesn't really... he appreciates the love for Illmatic, but let's get over it because there's so much more to appreciate. So I figured, why don't we do a salute to Nas and not mention anything to do with Illmatic directly? So, and see that, and so hopefully that would prove that Nas is still great beyond just Illmatic. So that's where it all came from.
All right, and that's what we're doing. So everything we're talking about, songs, verses, slept on, whatever. And then the thing I'm most intrigued about, because it's hard, you know what I mean? Because we're not just talking about No Illmatic. I'm talking about the first time you would have heard Nas is seeing the video for If I Ruled the World. Like, that's it. We're not doing verses from, and what was the joint? With Ray and Ghost. We're not doing the Mobb Deep, joint. We're not doing, Eye for Eye. We're not doing. This is the first time you're hearing him Illmatic and wondering and seeing if he moves on your list. Is he still at whatever, if he makes your top 10 GOAT list, does that move if you take Illmatic out of it? But y'all know me, let's jump right into it. Porsche, as always, why don't you set us off? What are your 5 favorite Nas songs and why?
Okay, so I got The Message, Affirmative Action, One Mic, Rule from Stillmatic, Ether, and Made You Look. And I know these are all the popular songs or whatever, but these ones are also the songs that I feel have the best sort of flow, delivery, message, fun, sort of enjoyable tracks with really good production. I don't think that Nas suffers from poor beat picking like everybody else in the world thinks. So I enjoy his stuff as if, he's any other MC. I'm not too hard on him when it comes to beats. So for me, The Message has my absolute favorite. I say this all the time. It's my favorite quote in all of music history, period, ever. So that's always going to be my number one. Affirmative Action, I love it, even though, some people might not as much. Rule, I think, is so slept on, but I talk about it enough that I can't put it in my slept on joints. I think Amarie was amazing as the vocal feature. And I love the cover I love that he used Tears for Fears. Everybody wants to rule the world and used it in the correct context and applied it to what he thought was relevant for him. So yeah, those are mine.
All right, no doubt. T, what's up? Give me your top 5 Nas songs, including Nothing Off Illmatic, and why.
Yeah, so all right. So for my top five, I kind of wanted to go away from the popular joints because I figured kind of like those would be the ones that's mentioned. So I
Mm.
kind of try to dig into the back of my mind for the joints that I enjoy listening to outside of those. So I Gave You Power. I got Purple. Well, I Gave You Power from It Was Written. Purple from the Lost Tapes, the first one. Rewind from Stillmatic. One Mic from Stillmatic, and New York State of Mind 2 from I Am.
Mm.
And the reason I chose those five, I'm 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 only 34. You know what I'm saying? So I got into Nas. I knew who he was, but I got into Nas during the I Am era. So that was what, 99? Yeah, around
Yeah.
99. So my first like really clear view of Nas that I could fully remember was "Hate Me Now" with Puff. And as a shorty, like I just liked that song because like I was on Puff and Bad Boy at that time. I was missing Big because he was my favorite rapper prior to me discovering Nas. And I was like, this shit go hard. So I ended up getting I Am the album, and I had to buy the clean version. My OG wouldn't let me listen to shit, no explicit content. So I had to get the clean version. And I think I was in like sixth or eighth grade. You know, I think I was in like no, I was sixth grade. And I can remember just being so proud to have that album. You know what I'm saying? And it was like as I got older, like with the LimeWire and all that shit, I was able to go back and get his early shit. And I was just I kind of like I just adapted immediately. You know what I'm saying? I seen so much of me in him because like everybody was on Jay, and Jay was like the popular varsity nigga in high school. You know what I'm saying? I was never that. I was the quiet, low key motherfucker. So I just felt like Nas was that. Even though he was fly and he let you know that shit, I just identified way more with Nas. His quiet demeanor. He was intellectual. You could tell he was lyrical. You know what I'm saying? So, but those my five joints and why I picked them.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. Eddie, what you got, man?
All right, let me pull it up real quick. I got a few of the same ones, but I'm gonna start with Undying Love. Undying
Mm,
Love, man, it's just such a dope song, man. And to close
mm,
that album with that joint was just crazy. The Message. I got Nas's Like. I mean, Nas and Premier is just crazy, and so many quotables on that. Made You Look. Um, and then I Gave You Power. That's my number one.
Nice.
All right, and why'd you pick those joints?
For me, it's just displaying Nas's lyricism, and then like in the case of like Undying Love and I Gave You Power, it's the storytelling. So and just being witty with the lyrics. So it's just all the facets, and I feel like when Nas gets in that bag, that's the Nas I like.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. Vague, what you got, good brother?
My top five, no order. The Message, Blaze of 50, Ether, Thief Steam, and Hate Me Now. And
mm,
the reason why I like those, starting with Hate Me Now, I just like Hate Me Now because of the timing of the track. What people were saying about Nas, given the fact that, the album We Shall Not Mention was kind of defining him. And people didn't like the whole Esco part. It was just more so of him embracing that hate. You know what I'm saying? Thief's Theme, I always loved the Iron Butterfly record. Always thought somebody should rap over that joint. Um, I did not like the Hip Hop Is Dead version of that, of the usage of that. Thief's Theme was more of my speed. Nas's lyrics on there was just crazy with the imagery. Ether, for obvious reasons, you know what I'm saying? I didn't think Nas could come back from that verse on the takeover. It was the timing of when it came out, as far as him having Nostradamus and a lot of people feeling like he was declining or lacking at the time, and how big Jay-Z was, and to hear something like Ether and hear him hit on so many different points that regardless of what people might say, whether they were true or not, a lot of people were saying some of these things, and Ether just was just a masterclass in hip hop diss records, one of the greatest diss records of all time. Blaze of 50, Nas's storytelling is right up there with Big, Slick Rick, some of the greatest storytellers of all time. Nas just does it in a way that's just, again, the descriptions, the imagery, and for it to be not really a fast record, but for him to tell a story in a way where, you don't have time to sit on your words. Not saying something's wrong with that, but when I look at something like Warning, you have a little bit of breathing room with your rhymes to tell the story, as opposed to Blazer 50, where it's kind of like fast paced, and you got to keep that energy not only with your flow, but with the storytelling itself. And the message, I love the beat, I love the idea. His voice is perfect over that beat. Kill, we talked about this before. The fact that a snippet of it was in the I Ruled the World video with him on the side of the project building with the red lights. Just a crazy record that set off It Was Written. So that was my top 5.
All right, no doubt. Tell me this, y'all, before I get into mine. How hard was it, or was it hard to remove Illmatic? You know what I mean? Because, me, Portion, and Vay was just on Speak Your Cow podcast earlier this week, and we did our top 10 Nas songs, and like four of mine 10 are Illmatic. So was it hard for you to kind of erase Illmatic out and be able to still pick Nas songs? Porsche, what about you?
It wasn't hard at all. I'm one of the ones that has It Was Written over Illmatic anyways. But definitely he's got some very solid, that entire track list is very, very solid. So I do have to consciously remember to not revert back, but it's definitely not hard because I think he's got joints that are just as good. He's grown since then, and I don't think that his skill has decreased at all or diminished. So for me, it wasn't that hard.
All right. What about you, T? I know you said that, you got on him later on, but was it hard? Like once you went back and heard the joints off Illmatic, The World Is Yours, Halftime, all of that stuff. Was it hard for you to be able to put together this list and do this stuff, and just block out Illmatic?
Not at all. I'm actually was super delighted when you said that no Illmatic, because I feel like motherfuckers be tweaking trying to just make it seem like Illmatic was his one and only crown and jewel. Like I actually feel his pain. Like, damn, this man got a whole other body of work. A lot of other bodies of work out here. And I get the impact. Well, I don't get the impact. Let me not misspeak because I wasn't really on it in 94. I understand the impact by talking to older cousins and my own personal love for the album, because even though I wasn't on it and didn't hear it in 94, I love that album too. But over the years, I've grown to like It Was Written over that, just because he was on a way higher plane of rapping. Like the nigga rapping, nobody was fucking with Nas in 96. I don't care who you name. To me, nobody. You know what I'm saying? But nah, it definitely wasn't hard. I was actually delighted when you said that.
All right. What about you, Ed?
Yeah, facts, man. What T said, but for me, yeah, I got some of my favorite songs are on there, like The World Is Yours and New York State of Mind. But It Was Written. I kind of go back and forth, but it Was Written, I say, is better. Nas better lyrically, so I definitely agree with T to God on that. And as far as like him getting in his bag on just being super vivid and descriptive lyrically and the storytelling, so it really wasn't hard.
All right. What about you, Vic?
It wasn't hard at all. I think if you're a true Nas fan, you followed his career, so it's way more than just Illmatic, and we not even scratching the surface with our top 5. Even trying to boil it down to a top 5. Like I had a top 13, and this is nothing on Illmatic. You know what I'm saying? And still wasn't confident in my top 5. So I think he got way more to offer than a lot of cats think. So
yeah, it's crazy because whenever I remember when the whole Illmatic, It Was Written, Doper Than Illmatic, and all the backpackers. Y'all know I'm 46. All people my age backpackers was like, hell no. Yo, I think It Was Written was 5 mics. Like, I never understand why. I get it. I've told this story a million times. To me, just saying produced by the Trackmasters is why people hate that shit. I always say if it said produced by Pete Rock, Premier, Havoc, RZA, and Q-Tip, the same beats, same album. It was written with be 5 mics by all the backpackers. But at that time, like literally Trackmasters was like fucking herpes. So it was like if that shit said track produced by Trackmasters, nobody was fucking with it. But yeah, I mean, it's weird because I say Illmatic is better, but whenever I want to hear Nas, I always pull it was written, which I don't know if that really means deep down inside like it was written better. But I always agree with people. Like I just felt like there was something about whenever I want to hear Nas, I pull that joint out. It's similar. Whenever I want to hear Jay, I pull American Gangster. I don't pull Reasonable Doubt, but I say Reasonable Doubt is my favorite Jay album. But neither here nor there. My top 5: Made You Look, The Message. Nas is like Shootouts. I Gave You Power. Made You Look to me was just crazy. And I think it was for me. It was like I think there are different people who are like Nas fans. And what I mean by that is you have those Nas fans who really want him to still get back with Premier, Pete Rock, and Large Professor. I'm not them. The last fucking thing I want in 2020 with everything that's happened is a fucking Nas Premier album. That's the last thing I need in my life. I just want Nas making dope music. If he makes dope music, I'm happy. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to be with Large Professor, Q-Tip, none of them dudes. But when I heard Made You Look, it was just like, yo, this shit is crazy. The Message, I mean, everything Veg and Poor said, to me, is just Nas, just rap, just going. You know what I mean? And just the perfect way to set off the album. Like Eddie said, with Nas is like with him and Premier, like that was it. I want a Nas and Premier album from like 96, 97. You tell me they got some secret album that they recorded and never came out, I'm all ears for that. I don't even know if Nas could really even get excited to record with Premier in 2020. You know what I mean? And I ain't trying to disrespect Premier, nothing like that, but I can't even get excited for a Nas Premier album in 2020. So,
that's probably why it didn't happen.
What happened?
That's probably why it ain't happen.
Right? You know what I mean? And Shootouts to me was just crazy. I mean, just so vivid. Like I said, I had the album before it dropped, so I'm in my mom's basement in Philly listening to everything like, yo, I think Large Pro did that. Like, I thought Large Pro did Watch Them Niggas. Like, I had no idea. I knew RZA did Shootouts. As soon as I heard Shootouts, I was like, oh, this RZA, oh, this ill. Nas and RZA, it's crazy. So after finding out the Trackmaster did it, my level of appreciation grew for them because I'm like, damn, like, yo, I thought like RZA did this shit and it was the Trackmasters. And then I Gave You Power. Everybody hears me tell stories with my teens. They get in my car. I'm always teaching them about hip hop and I'm never dissing their artists. I'm never like, yo, your rappers are whack. But I'll play I Gave You Power, let them listen to it. And then they be like, yo, Mr. Kill, that's ill. He was a gun. That's crazy. Like, yo, can I hear that again? Play it for him again. And then I'm just like, now, can your favorite rapper do that? They're like, nah, he can't. You know what I mean? So, So now I do that for I Gave You Power and Rewind. So out of all the MCs in the world, when I'm teaching my kids about hip hop, I go to 2 Nas songs first and foremost, which says a lot about him as an MC. Tell me this, y'all. What are some of your slept on joints? Because until I was on the Speak Your Cloud podcast with Portia and Vague, there was so many songs, man. Like Vague, I'm like, damn, I forgot about Thief's Theme. And then Portia's like, oh, I forgot about this. Like, there's so many songs that don't get talked about because Illmatic literally plagues your timeline. Like, Illmatic to me is just like too many bags on a plane trying to fly. It just weighs down the timeline. It's like, yo, can we go one day without talking about Illmatic? But there's so many slept-on songs that Nas has. So, Porsche, what are some of your slept-on songs that Nas has that somebody who just has never listened past Illmatic, what are some of the slept-on joints that you would give him, Porsche?
I got My Way. I revisited Lost Tapes a lot, actually, for this, because I feel like Lost Tapes in general is a slept-on album for some reason. Although people mention it here and there, I just feel like as a whole, that is a slept-on album in general. So I have My Way. I love Nas with Alchemist, and I didn't know how much. I didn't realize how well they work together and how the chemistry is so good. And I know it's Alchemist is like that with a lot of artists, but I think him and Nas just kind of go together really well. I have Book of Rhymes from God's Son. I've got Queensbridge Politics from Lost Tapes 2. And I love that joint because he mentions Prodigy so much. And I think that that's just dope all around. I mean, I love listening to it. I got Queen's Wolf off of Lost Tapes too, and I love I like Distant Relatives more than most people. I'm going to put that out there right now. So I think I never knew I wanted Nas with Damian Marley. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that they're really good together too. And I think that Nas is a really great MC with the way that he flows, the way that he delivers his lyrics. He's just able to kind of complement that style, reggae in general. So for me, I loved it. And the joint that I have off of that one is the second track with Kanon. I think it's called Tribal Wars, I think. Okay. That one to me, I love the lyrics. I think it's just all of them just work really well together. So,
all right, no doubt. See, what's some of the joints you got for slept on Nas joints?
My slept on Nas joints. I got Star Wars. Like I was saying before we went live, like that joint. If you just look at it from the surface, it don't seem like it's that creative. But to me, the way he just broke down the rap scene or the rap game basically and just put it out there for motherfuckers who might not be into rap. Like he had a line something like this ain't your VH1 or MTV or something like that. Like the way he just broke down like the beefs between certain ecstasy, coke, you say it's love, it is poison. I love that joint. That's Nas, you know what I'm saying?
I think you got froze up.
Say it again.
No, you were froze up for a second, but you're good now. Oh,
okay. Yeah, that was a constant with Nas. Like, regardless of what nobody said, he was definitely always gonna give you a jewel or you know what I'm saying, or two, more than one. I got Come Get Me. You know what I'm saying? I thought about putting Come Get Me on my top 5 with Nas's Light, but I just feel like that's another one of them primo joints to where it's like I feel like Nas is like get talked about more than Come Get Me, but like he killed Come Get Me. And I don't know who put theirs out first. I know Jay had a joint called Come Get Me Too. I think Jay's was on volume 3. So I don't know if they was like answering each other or responding to the other, whoever's came out first, and then the other one dropped theirs. But that's one of my slept on joints. I got Blaze of 50. To me, it slept on just because I don't hear a lot of people talk about that joint. I know y'all mentioned it, but this is obviously some hip hop head shit. I don't hear a lot of Nas fans mention Blaze of 50. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's one of the coldest stories ever. So I definitely got that. I'm a big fan, like Porsche was saying, I'm a big fan of the Lost Tapes. And I think that particular album don't get the love it should because it's a compilation. And it's not just like, oh, Nas went in and created the album. It's a lot of songs from different places. I think most of that was from the Illmatic, not Illmatic, the I Am sessions, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah, because I read it was supposed to be like a double disc. And let me just say this. If I Am would have came out as intended, I think that could have fucked with Life After Death as far as double disc rap albums. Because from the shit that's on I Am plus the shit that's on Lost Tapes, I actually might put that above Life After Death if that shit would have came out as intended. I can't say I would because I don't know the exact track list, but you got Fetus, Belly Button Window, and that was supposed to end and lead into the next joint. Like, nah, that shit would have been crucial. That shit would have been crazy. And last I got Heaven. To me, I feel like that's from God's Son. I feel like that's super slept on. I love that hook. I love the way he switched the flow. That wasn't the first time I heard him switch the flow. The first time I ever heard him get on some kind of like fast rap shit was Big Things from I Am. But this was another breath of fresh air from Nas, not the typical East Coast New York slow flow. He kind of played with the double time, but you know what I'm saying? Not really all the way. But I love that joint. You know what I'm saying? It's real soulful. And just the whole concept. If Heaven was a mile away, would you pack up everything and just leave for it right now? You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I think about in reality, especially with all this bullshit going on. So that was my 5 slept on Nas joints.
Yo, the funny thing you said about Lost Tapes is you're right, it's slept on. And I really don't get why, because when it dropped, everybody loved it. Everybody was like, yo, this is what we wanted. Like, these are all the joints that didn't make the album. They couldn't clear samples. Right. So it was crazy because I remember it coming out and everybody loving it. But then you look up 10, 12 years later, I guess 20 years later now, and like people act like it never existed for some reason.
But if you mention it, the love comes out again. It's not one of those things where people are like, "Oh, that album's trash." I've mentioned it a couple times, or I've quoted things from Lost Tapes, and people just rave about that album. Just that you forget. I don't really know. It's probably because they're bogged down by the earlier stuff. You know, I'm not sure.
But I just wonder because, like you said, if you mention it, then the love comes. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but why isn't the love
very familiar with the album, the track list, the quotables, like everything? People love that album. I
think people be scared to put it out there because they waiting to see if somebody else gonna throw it out there because it's a compilation. So I think certain people don't want to like hang their hat on Lost Tapes because it's not a official technical album as far as like he went in with the intent to put these songs on this one disc out as an album. So I think it's more like people wait to see if somebody else gonna mention it, and then they like, yeah, I like that one too. But I mean, it's an album; it counts. It's included in his discography. So to me, that's definitely top. For me, that's probably top 3 Nas albums.
I feel you. Veg, what you got for your slept on joints?
I got a couple. I think Undying Love off of I Am is slept on. Again, a song that rarely gets mentioned at all. Also highlighting, his storytelling skills. Second Childhood, I think with Stillmatic, everybody was so in love with a lot of the other records that they recognized Second Childhood, but like he's saying some true shit in there. Like everybody know people just like that in all them verses. You know what I'm saying? The Rise and Fall. I love that joint because it basically told the story from before he put out Illmatic until I think maybe after Stillmatic or during the Stillmatic time. But he does an excellent job of telling his own story about him as a recording artist and trying to get on. Purple, I just think that's a jam. Like that's one of them joints that makes the Lost Tapes dope. Like as soon as it comes on, you just like, oh, this shit is crazy. The Whole City Is Mine, Pretty Is Dawn. I don't like the way P. Diddy did Shine with different lawyers. Crazy shit on there. Fetus. Come on, man. We talk about I Gave You Power. This nigga wrote a rhyme as a fetus in the womb.
Yeah.
And extremely detailed, but still put a little swag in it at the same time without it sounding corny. So I agree with T. Like, imagine a new Nas album come out and that's the intro. Like, come on, man. Find Your Wealth. I mentioned that once before. I love that record personally. It was on the QB's Finest compilation. I just love the stories in there also, especially when he tells stories about the struggle of being a hustler or just any person, like being younger and not having it and wanting to get it. And the whole idea of finding your wealth. And 2 more, Surviving the Times. I think when that came out, I think it came out on like a greatest hits or whatever for Nas. But I thought it was dope. It had the Nipsey Russell, I think, sample.
Yeah.
On that joint. I just thought that was a dope record. Truly fit Nas. And off probably my favorite record off Untitled. Because I'm not a big fan of that album, but the joint Fried Chicken. I thought that shit was on point. Like I was like, as soon as it come on, you like, oh, this is shit I'm talking about. Kill, this is shit you talking about. Like, yo, this is what I want. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you hear it, you like, okay, that's the in the pocket Nas. But those are mine.
All right, no doubt. Ed, what's yours? You can't hear you.
On mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I got one that's unreleased, and then the rest are, I feel like, on his slept on albums or his not so popular albums. So my unreleased joint is the Good Morning, the joint with Ron Isley. I never heard anyone talking about that really, but it's just real dope. Smooth Nas, but he's still in the pocket. You know what I mean? Introspective. So I do like that side of Nas occasionally, and I thought that joint was dope. I got Come Get Me from Nostradamus. I think T talked about it, but You know, that joint is just dope, man. I mean, the beat, you know, the way Nas is spitting and his verses. I think the only reason why I get slept on is because it was on Nostradamus.
Right.
And you know, people talk about that album like it was all trash, like no redeeming qualities. But I mean, you got Come Get Me. You got a few other joints on there too that are dope. You got Project Windows. I think, you know, that was supposed to be on the I Am Nostradamus double album. I got talking about Untitled. I know Vegas mentioned Fried Chicken. I got Sly Fox. I thought that joint was dope. You know, all the media references and how he flipped them. Was kind of you know, talk about that whole situation with, you know, I guess now, you know, call it fake news or whatnot, but you know, the misinformation. I really like that joint. Play on Playa on Hip Hop Is Dead with Snoop. I like that joint. You know, it was definitely a different kind of flow for Nas. You know, a different vibe with that beat. But I liked it because it worked for Nas and it worked for Snoop. Like Snoop came in and just floated over that. But Nas was in his pocket too. And then I got Remember the Times from Street Disciple. Honestly, like Street Disciple, it has some jewels on there. It's not my favorite Nas album. I feel like it's too long. It's too bloated. It's kind of hard to get through. But Remember the Times was a jam. So those are my 5.
All right, no doubt. First joint I got is Get Down off of Godson. Man, I love Get
That's
Down,
that shit.
man.
That's that shit.
That boss, James Brown boss
That's
joint
that
comes
shit.
in, and he just one of my favorite Nas joints. You was talking about Streets Disciple, Ed. Sekou's story. Yo, I love
I forgot
Sekou's
that
story,
joint.
bro.
I forgot
Yo,
about that
I
joint.
love that story. You talk about Nas and his storytelling bag, like, yo, love Sekou's story. You the Man off of Stillmatic. Like, you know, him and Large Professor coming back together again, and it just sounding good, sounding right, sounding fresh. I got Locomotive off of Life
That's
is
that
Good
shit.
with No ID. Oh God, that goes hard, man.
That shit
like
is
that.
so hard.
Oh my God. Like, yo, like that's one of those joints I could just listen to on repeat over and over again. And I don't know why a lot of people don't talk about this. You hear people complain about adult contemporary hip hop and we don't have it. Daughters. I thought Daughters was dope as hell. Like, yo, this is like a serious song. He's talking about something serious, but the beat is still dope. I feel like usually when people try to get on something like that serious, then the beat is, but the beat is dope. Like everything is there. What do you say? Like, how does guy get back all the, you know, players in the world? He gets us back. He makes us have precious baby girls. Like, I don't know how Daughters isn't talked about more. Like, and I think that's a testament to why we do these shows, to salute people. Because prayerfully, if you're watching, you're hearing 5 different people come up with different songs and different takes on how Nas is doing what he's doing and doing it different ways and through different eras, and not mentioning one song off of Illmatic. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, it's one of those things. I was watching the interview today with Nas, and the guy's talking about King's disease, and then he was like, "Yeah, because Illmatic," and I'm like, "Oh God!" Like my heart dropped during the interview. So it's like, yo, please don't. Like, I'm as a fan, I'm like, yo, please don't bring up Illmatic. So like, I feel like Nas is like what Chadwick Boseman, like Wakanda Forever. It was like, yo, one more nigga asked me to do Wakanda Forever, I'ma knock a motherfucker out. And I feel like that's how Nas feels. Like, if y'all even say ill, like that nigga don't even want that shit in your vocabulary. Call it dope, call it fresh, call it trail, call it whatever you want. Just don't even start saying ill anything, because it's just like, and prayerfully people will walk away with this, especially the younger generation and the older generation who are caught up. And like Nas said, the stuck in the 90s niggas, like, will wake up and realize, like, yo, this man has so much doper shit. I don't want to say doper. Some people may say that, some people may, but he has dope shit, you know, past Illmatic. Veg, I want to talk to you real quick, because for folk who don't know, Veg is Ill Will's cousin. So he knows Nas, he, you know, was in the bridge with Nas, he knows him as Nasir. Yo, tell me this, bro, because I know Nas takes a lot of flack from going from, I think we actually did a show on the writer's bench where it's like, Nasty Nas, the Esco to, some Nostradamus or whatever like that, the different facades of Nas. How did you feel knowing Nas? Did you feel some kind of way going to Illmatic? Because it seems like I personally did. Like I know people who are like, I didn't like the Nas Escobar. I had no problem with Nas Escobar. You know what I mean? But knowing him and did y'all feel like there was a different vibe when he did make that switch?
From Illmatic to the whole Escobar stuff?
Yeah.
Nah, everybody was with him. Like everybody I knew, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not just necessarily, in Queensbridge or even just Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Everybody I knew was with everything he was doing, or it was written and all of that. It was shocking to me the first time I met one person, like in '99, who was like, "Yeah, I stopped messing with Nas after Illmatic." I just told him, "Yo, get the fuck out the studio, fam. Like, get the fuck out, because you don't like hip hop. You can't like hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Because it, to me, like everybody said, you saw an evolution of an MC. You know what I'm saying? Illmatic was almost like his demo. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just the best producers with the best beats they can give him, the best rhymes he had at the time, and all the success was kind of poured into it was written, because then he got a little bit more confident. He knew he was a bigger star, and I just felt like around that time there wasn't no talk around me, at least, about him, like, doing different types of records. There was people who was loving him even through the Nostradamus time. So I didn't see much of that at all, to be honest.
All right. No doubt. I was just wondering, since you being in touch with Queensbridge like that. Yo, let's take a pause for the calls real quick. My man T the God right here has a very, very dope album out right now called I Am the God. Produced by Max, Julian, out of Chicago. Here's the thing, y'all. It's a blessing that people value my opinion. I get so much music sent to me on a daily basis. I have no idea what a rap A&R, like, I don't even know what a real label person DMs must look like, because my shits look crazy and I'm a fucking nobody. You know what I mean? So I have no idea what Young Guru and people like that did. I mean, they may not even check their DMs ever. And I'm not gonna hold you. A lot of the music I hear is just aight. You know what I mean? It's aight. But I want to give it all a listen because I love hip hop, and if people feel like they respect my opinion enough to ask for it, I'm gonna definitely, let people know. And I tell people up front, like, yo, if you asking for my opinion, my nigga, I'm gonna give you my opinion. So if I don't think the shit is good, I'm gonna tell you that. Yeah, I'm not gonna hold y'all. Like, his album is dope as shit. Like, it's not even on some old. You know how now, like, you have, and this is no disrespect to these people, like SoundCloud rappers, because I think there are a lot of dope rappers on SoundCloud. So I don't use SoundCloud rapper as a diss, but you have some joints that's like, yo, that's dope. Like, I can hear what you're trying to do. Maybe do this, do that. You know what I mean? Do a little something else. But like, yo, his album to me is right there with anything else that's like in my current rotation. Like, it's not like, okay, I got to dip off from 38 Special and dip off from Rants. It's like, nah, that shit kind of flows right there and together. So it was definitely something dope to hear. Tell me this, God. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, rapping. You from Chicago. How did Chicago come out in this album specifically?
First of all, I gotta say that's huge to be mentioned amongst the likes of Special and Rand, which is two of my favorite MCs at the moment right now. That's big for me. So much gratitude for that. Appreciate you. But like I said earlier, I'm 34. Like, I've been rapping probably since I was 10. So I got at least a dub in as far as to be able to refine myself. My craft, I feel like I had some of the best teachers in Nas, Pun, Jay, Pac, Big, X, Hove, Twister. And I quit around 2018 because I was gone for about 2 years. Maybe 2017. I quit. You know what I'm saying? I was real disgusted with rap and my own failures of not being further than I actually was at the time. So just down on myself, not really. And I started toying with other sounds because this hip hop shit really is who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I started toying with other sounds because I felt like I had to if I was going to move out the place I was in and up my position in this shit. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, the music I was making right before I quit was cool, but it really wasn't what I wanted to do 100%. So that time I took away calling myself quitting, it was actually just a recharge of the battery. You know what I'm saying? My second win, so to speak. And when I came back, I was actually inspired by Griselda. You know what I'm saying? I started getting wind of like Conway, Benny the Butcher, and it was like, oh shit. And not to say that they was the only popular underground rappers, but they recently has taken the underground shit to another level. It's kind of been a resurgence. And with the rise of the internet, it's kind of like what the fuck is mainstream? You only as mainstream as how many motherfuckers homes you can get into. The internet you can get anywhere. So it's kind of like I'm like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? It's a lane open now. And it's kind of like, all right, I played in my ass long enough. I want what's mine. I'm coming for what's mine. You know what I'm saying? My spot in this shit. So it's kind of like, what I didn't want to do is it's come out sounding like Griselda, because that's the one thing I got. I got a lot of shit I don't like about this side and about that side, but that's one thing with the current underground I don't like. A lot of motherfuckers is trying to do their best Derringer, Benny, Conway impressions, and I don't really fuck with that, because the underground was once upon a time a place you can go where everybody was different. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody was doing their own thing. And I feel like now we just so far along within this rap shit it's gonna be follow the leader regardless of what plane you on with the shit, whether it's underground, commercial, whatever you want to call it. So my biggest thing was, how can I represent for Chicago but still make some respectable in the hip hop world, quote unquote? Because it's like, it ain't no secret Chicago is known for that drill shit these days, and the trappy, sing songy, auto tune type shit. Uh, I never really been with that. I ain't gonna shit on it. I ain't gonna diss it, because obviously somebody like it, or else motherfuckers wouldn't be doing it. You know what I'm saying? Some of this shit is cool, but I also have like a stigma. Like I can't really bring myself to like really listen to the drill shit and support it, knowing what the fuck my city going through. It's different for me listening to Styles P say shoot him in the head, shoot him in the face, in the chest, then shoot him in the waist and the neck. I'm not from Yonkers, even though it's the same shit. I'm not from YO. I don't get their local news. I don't know who was the last motherfucker to die. You know what I'm saying? What black man killed that black man? So it's different listening to shit I grew up on and actually listening to these shorties do shit that I see going on right in my backyard. And it's like, I kind of feel guilty. So I don't really fuck with the drill shit as far as listening to it.
Not to cut you, but can you talk a little bit about that? Because the drill shit is new to me. So, you know, me and Eddie was talking about that offline, and just we were just talking about, one of the things we were talking about on last week's show was, I was like, yo, I'm concerned with all these young rappers dying. Like, is nobody else paying attention that like rappers are dying like every week from all over? And then Eddie was talking to me about the drill thing. So can you like just give a little background on what that drill thing is and what's going on in Chicago with that?
I can't remember who originated the term. I don't think the dude who originated the term was really like a rapper. If he was rapping, I don't think he really got where he might have wanted to go. But I know the first rappers who I heard coin that term was Chief Keef and a dude by the name of King Louis. You know what I'm saying? It was the first two who I heard bring the drill slang into the shit. And once upon a time, I used to call myself being GD crazy or whatever, fucking with the gang shit. But it's always been a bloody history between the gangster disciples, which is supposed to be growth and development, and the black disciples, the GDs and the BDs. And the shit is just, that's what most of the violence is coming from as far as the Chicago gangs. All the gangs are definitely still active, but a lot of the shit is GDBD shit. And it started from one of the young brothers. His name was Tuka. You know what I'm saying? I forget which side he was on. You know what I'm saying? These is young dudes. Like, I'm a little older. So I think he was GD, but I don't want to misspeak, because that's really not my shit. But he was killed, and they got a thing to where, like, if you kill a op, which is short for opposition, it's like you say, oh, we smoking a pack. You know what I'm saying? A pack is, you know, the loud, the weed or whatever. So motherfuckers coined the phrase smoking on Tuka, and that shit is like disrespect to the dead. So from there, it's been like a bloody war from that shit, like ever since. But it's always been a bad blood between the GDs and the BDs, as both of those factions come from the same gang, which was BGD back when with Larry Hoover and David Barksdale. You know what I'm saying? And they split. David Barksdale passed on. You know what I'm saying? Hoover became king. The GD split, or the BD split from the GDs, and it was on from them. But that's basically what it is nowadays. So the drill shit is real interesting because it's like motherfuckers really die behind them songs. This ain't Ether versus Takeover. You know what I'm saying? This ain't second round knockout versus the Ripper, the return of the Ripper. Like these motherfuckers really be making songs dissing motherfuckers dead homies, dissing blocks, and motherfuckers really get they issue behind that shit. Motherfuckers really get smoked behind that shit. Like the latest that I heard was FBG Duck, rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? Called him downtown in a very prevalent area where nothing like that is ever expected to happen. This is a strip to where like all the high-end fashion stores is at. You know what I'm saying? So shit is real crazy right now. And a lot of that shit is due to the government locking up all the gang leaders and the chiefs and shit. It's basically the gang shit is anarchy. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no more, right. I ain't gonna say it's no more chiefs, but these niggas probably my age, if not a little younger. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's anarchy in this shit. It's a bunch of different sets, you know what I'm saying? Under these gangs, it was already different gangs. Now it's a bunch of different sets within these gangs. So, I mean, but it's crazy. It's crazy, but that shit is definitely real. It's nothing to be toyed with. I kind of hate that shit spread it to the East Coast and other places that they feel like that's something to fucking duplicate and imitate. But that shit is definitely real here in Chicago.
Yeah, it's crazy you say that, fam. And I like how you said it's anarchy because I'm actually opening up a new teen center in a hood that my hood is currently beefing with. You know what I mean? And it's trying to get people to understand, like for a wire reference, you know, if Avon said, yo, we ain't beefing with Marlo no more, you ain't beefing with Marlo. And if Marlo agrees to that, but like you said, when there are no Avons and no Marlos, and it's just everybody on their own, I'm like, yo, I could squash this beef. And then tomorrow, two dudes who are nobodies are beefing on a basketball court, they get the record. Now they done started it right back up. You know what I mean? So I love how you said it's anarchy. You just dropped the video for Make It Home Safe. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about that joint, the video, just the concept of the song and everything like that.
Right. Well, I kind of got off topic. Let me shout out the homie Max Julian because he did a remarkable job.
The beats are
providing me. Yeah, he did a remarkable job providing the soundscape and the canvas for me to get my art on and paint all over it. Like, shout out to Max Julian. Like, he's done some work with Conway the Machine. He got some work in with a lot of the guys from Chicago. Like, this dude is he's a monster. But yeah, basically, I just wanted to come back and show that Chicago never forgot how to rap. Because like I said, we known for the drill shit. I just wanted to come back and show that we still, at the core, do this rap shit for real. But I just dropped the Make It Home Safe video. And that was basically reflecting on my life, my younger life growing up in Chicago, because I'm not in Chicago anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm not far at all. I'm always back and forth. But with that joint, I just took myself back, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of starts from my early beginning as far back as I could remember, which is when my OG was pregnant with my little sister. I even reference seeing CVL spray painted on walls. That was my first introduction to anything gang related that I could remember. Like, I could just remember seeing CVL spray painted on one of the walls in the projects, walking with my mother. And I'm just looking at it as a shorty, like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because I was taught, my mother is a strong individual. Like, I was taught to stay away from the gangs. I was taught not to fuck with drugs. I was taught to stay in school and do my best. And like a lot of other youth, impressionable youth growing up in these areas, I became a victim to a lot of shit that I was taught to stay away from. So Make It Home Safe was basically just a trip down memory lane to my younger life in Chicago. And that's actually the remix, which is available in the deluxe edition, which is, as of right now, only in CD format, which is available on my Bandcamp, guysgift.bandcamp.com. But that's featuring the homie A. New Shit and the homie Taco. And it's shot by Ogun Please, Cabron Cartel. And we just basically took it back to the hood. The hood has been defunct since 2009. That's why you can see, if you pay attention, it's like a lot of field and a lot of gated field. Like that's where all the buildings used to be. They tore the motherfuckers down back in '09. And it's really nothing but a lot of field there left and big ass dumpsters from whatever remnants and debris of the construction that was left. But that was important for me to shoot a visual for, because it's important for the hood. I always say, shout out to Hood Leclerc Courts. I always say they took the buildings, but they can't take the memories. You know what I'm saying? Because some of my fondest memories was growing up there, and some of my worst memories was growing up there as well. But that's just a joint that I feel like would reintroduce me, because I'm basically a new artist all over again with taking a 2-year hiatus. That's just something I felt would reintroduce me and give a little background into my life, you know what I'm saying, and who I am as a man outside of just being an MC.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. We're going to get into a little bit more a little later, but tell them where they can get everything at. Tell them where the Bandcamp, iTunes, everything.
The Bandcamp is God's Gift, GAWDSGIFT.bandcamp.com. And it's definitely available on all major streaming platforms. So go get that. I am God. I am GAWD.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. Let's get back to Nas, y'all. Tell me this, y'all. What are some of your favorite verses? Even, I mean, it doesn't have to be the whole verse, a bar, a line. What is some of your top 5 Nas verses? Again, not including Illmatic. Porsche, what you got?
Okay. Do you want all 5 of them?
Yeah, just give all 5.
So, as I said earlier, my absolute favorite quotable in all of music history ever, and I don't think anything will ever come close to this, is from The Message, when Nas says, thug changes and love changes and best friends become strangers. I have said this in random conversation. I've said this at work. I revert to this all the time.
When did you say this at work? I want to know, what was the conversation? Who you talking to? Your boss? I was like, look, nigga.
It was a client. No, it was a client. And
like, look, goddamn, I ain't doing this goddamn shit no more, because a thug changes and love changes and goddamn the best friends become strangers. It's a
really good reference point for me, for a lot of things. I mean, if you really think about what that line is talking about, it's brilliant. It's really brilliant. And you can use it in so many conversations.
I agree.
Again,
I was just wondering about
my
work.
favorite. So I know I constantly quote rap lyrics in my day-to-day. So it's just, it's weird, but I do. And then I've got Nothing Lasts Forever from Lost Tapes. I love the bar that says, haunted by souls who thought that time stood still. Just live your life to the fullest. Never look back. It's real. And I love Nas for these gems. Like, he's constantly dropping these jewels of, it's insight, it's his wisdom. And he makes you think. When you actually pay attention to these lyrics, you sit there and you're like, oh shit, like that's actually pretty deep. And it can translate to this, and this. So, Cops Shot the Kid from Nasir is another one. I personally like the verse where he says, the disadvantages of the brown, how in the hell the parents can bury their own kids, not the other way around. Reminds me of Emmett Till. Let's remind him why Cap kneels. And I just think it's so fitting. People hate on that Nasir album, but again, in true Nas fashion, he drops some jewels that will forever be relevant, I feel like, especially when it's this kind of subject matter. I've got another one from, and you knew that I was going to say this one, from Nasir. It's from Simple Things. He says, I love the past, but see where I'm going. I get to fly, never sold a record for my beat. It's my verses they purchase. And again, that's me. I always talk about how Nas doesn't have the worst beats in the world. He's not a bad beat picker. I don't care what anyone says. I'll never, ever agree with that. I think it's just the same as any other artist. And I love that he addressed it. So that one always sticks out for me. And then Queensbridge Politics. On behalf of the Queens and all the G's, Bandana P will always stand as tall as the trees. I thought that was just a really nice tribute to Prodigy. And I mean, when I heard it, it was kind of an emotional thing. And yeah, I love that. So
right.
Damn, them shit sound like hip hop Hallmark cards and shit. I gotta go back and listen.
This is what I'm saying. That is amazing.
Up with the trees.
Hey, what you got for your 5, man?
My shit is all black nigga shit. So I'm just let y'all know. Ain't no sentiments here. It's nothing but disses and fly shit. Um, my first one is I love the second verse off of Thief's theme. Mainly because of the imagery. You know what I'm saying? I take one is off because I love Summer Beef. Started 87 with the shotty in the sheet, 3/4 length beige, dressed to kill, bust a shot at the ground, pellets hit the crowd. Nobody like a snitch, everybody shut their mouth. Like just the imagery in that, and I think I said this before, like simple rappers will just say, I had a sheepskin coat on with a shotgun in it.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He giving you the year. He calling it a sheep. He's calling it a shoddy. He letting you know the length, the color. Like, so when you hear that, you already have it in your mind of what you're seeing. You know what I'm saying? And then now you know what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was just a dope verse. Like, it's one of those verses, probably this is going to be the same for all of y'all, that it's your, you love the song and you like, I got to rewind that shit real quick. Just, I got to hear that verse one more time before I complete the record. Another one, Ether. And I mean, there's a lot on here I like lyrically. But I think one that really struck me was thinking about like when Jay-Z made the takeover and he said some shit like, you know, your shit is garbage. What you trying to kick knowledge? And for Nas to rebuttal that, to be like, you know, ask me if I'm trying to kick knowledge. Nah, I'm trying to kick the shit you need to learn though. That ether, that shit that make your soul burn slow. Like I was just like, oh shit, like yo, Jay, shut the fuck up. Like this shit over. And you know,
down that reverse card like Uno.
Yeah, exactly. It's similar to, because Jay had a hotline on Takeover, responding to Nas's freestyle. That was a response to the Summer Jam joint where he was like, what'd he say? Yeah, I sampled your voice. You was using it wrong. You made it a hot line. I made it a hot song. That's Jay doing what Nas did. But for Nas to do that after the Takeover verse comes out, and Jay was trying to paint him as a fake, you know, you fake trying to kick knowledge and this shit is garbage. For him to read him like that, and I'm pretty sure this mad fans was like, what's ether? Like they didn't even know what the fuck ether was until this song, you know what I'm saying? And like Portia said on a different podcast, it became a slang in hip hop. So I just love that record and the verses there. Another one of my favorites, Black Republicans. This is the first time Jay and Nas is on a record together. And I think sometimes when Jay is on a record with like top MCs, a la Eminem, he tries to rap to their level and be like real super lyrical, and he's not even just being Jay, you know what I'm saying? And I think his verse was dope, but when I'm back in the hood, they like, hey Nas, it was just like a different record came on, you know what I'm saying? He sound comfortable on that joint, like I'm standing on the roof of my building, I'm feeling the whirlwind of beef, I inhale it, just like an acrobat, ready to hurl myself through the hoops of fire. I was just like, yo, I don't even know what he talking about. This shit is crazy. Like, shit just, but again, he's perfect at imagery. You know what I'm saying? Because it was almost like when he started saying that, I'm standing on the roof of my building, I'm feeling the whirlwind of beef. It's almost like I could see him standing on the building and a camera panning around him. You know, you get sky, you get city. Like he knows how to create those images. Another one for me, this for the real Nas heads, and this is the Foulness freestyle, part one. You probably heard it. This is when Nas was rapping over old school beats, a la what Biggie did with Real Niggas.
Is that the do 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 do? Is that joint?
When he rap over Big Daddy Kane's Word to the Motherland, everybody rapped over it now. Big Jay-Z,
Tommy Gun Thun and Money Mike joint.
Yeah. The first one though, let me see what he said. Where he started joining out, splitting Phillies, sipping on Baileys with the Israelis. We Willies, but still pack millies because we a Philly. But thug shit throughout the city. See, G3s is off the drug tip is something pretty. My niggas fronting with me. Faces with $150s. I stick you for trying to stick me for gas you trust. Crabs you trust to fuck around and pass you dust. Have you on point and blast you up.
Leaking like Henny through plastic cups.
Like
That's that shit.
generals in the cut, nigga. What? I was
What?
like, yo, this nigga killing this. Like
Yeah.
that's like probably slept on only because only mixtape
shit.
dudes and real
Yep.
hip hop fans heard it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But all these niggas that just say Illmatic, they're cheating themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just
For
so
real.
much crazy shit out there. And lastly, I had Nas on the Firm freestyle. Now, I don't know if this actually made a Clue tape because I had like a sample CD before the Firm or cassette before the Firm album came out. And it was Foxy and Nas rhyming over the symphony beat. But it was like tweaked. You know what I'm saying? It was tweaked a little bit. And this is when Nas was throwing some shots at Jay early. What did he say? Well, he actually had this part of it that was really nasty. Sorry, Porsche, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Oh, you know where you going?
Yeah. I used to bust a nut on my fist. Imagine it was some chick sucking my dick. Now I'm handcuffing my chicks. And yours too. Laying back, getting the oral in the back of the 420. Like, what does he say? Y'all better respect Black De Niro.
Black De Niro.
Have your crew graph a mirror of your face on your building with a halo. Like, and
thought I might have
niggas
crashed.
like, remember him? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, yo, I know he's talking to Jay. He didn't say it, but that shit was just crazy. So those were mine, man. Obviously, I then recited the whole damn verses and shit. So those my favorites.
He say, thought I might have passed you, Chris. Nah, I just passed you, piss.
Yeah.
He was going, bro. He was going
in.
Yeah,
That's
what you got for yours, man?
All right. I got verbal intercourse, man. That whole verse was crazy, but the way he starts it off, through the lights, cameras, and that.
Bro, you know we can't do that, bro. That's prior to it was written.
Yep.
That was prior to it was written. Everything is starting post it was written.
My bad.
It's all good, bro. My bad. Right. Call the flag. I throw the flag on the play, man.
My bad. I was thinking after Illmatic. I wasn't thinking prior to it was written, so that's my bad. But yeah, but I love the way he sets off Nas's like freedom or jail, clips inserted, and babies being born. Same time, a man is born, the beginning and end. Or man is murder. Sorry. The beginning and end. That was crazy. I'm gonna recite it, but I'm gonna say the whole third verse of "I Gave You Power," how he just wrapped it all up, and screaming, "Cops is coming! Now I'm happy until I saw somebody else grab me." Like, damn, you know, the way he ended it was just so ill. Made you look. You know, that whole bar, you know, we can drive through the city, no doubt, but don't say my car's topless. Say the titties is out. You know,
quotable.
I got New York State of Mind Part 2, where he said, "Mama should have cuffed me to the radiator. Why not? It might have saved me later from my block." That's crazy.
That shit.
Like the imagery of, you know, like if you grew up, you know, and I'm not sure in Chicago. I mean, I could imagine Chicago similar to New York, but you know, I grew up in an old apartment where we had them old radiators like exposed, like, you know, if you weren't paying attention, you get caught slipping and burn your leg on the radiator while you're playing. So Mama should have cuffed me to the radiator. Like it just hit a certain way for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No
hey, believe it or not, since they knocked down Cabrini Green, Queensbridge is the biggest project in the U.S., if I'm not mistaken.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. T, what you got for your top 5 verses or bars?
Man, the first one I got is from Star Wars. That was the little subliminal he threw at Jay. Why would they fuck with a Don? Jehovah Witness, him and his co-defendants, I eat them like Lucky Charms with 2% low-fat milk, 5% pro-black built. It's nothing mother had them, motherfuck them. Like, when he said that shit, with 2% low-fat milk, I'm 5% pro-black built. It's nothing mother had them, motherfuck them. I'm like, oh my God, this nigga is really like, he floating, bro. Like, I already told y'all I love Star Wars, but when I heard that as a matter of fact, that whole verse, but that line in particular, like it's another line. He say, I don't think about it. Niggas talking. It's a lot of gossip that I'm a prophet or I can't go back to my projects. Can I? Does a plant grow from a pot? Yes. Do trees grow from a forest? MCs, y'all a clitoris. I'm like, oh my God, this nigga, like, he was killing that shit, bro. So that joint from Star Wars, this line right here from Take It in Blood from It Was Written. Up early, trustworthy as a 9 that bust early. Sunshine on my grill, I spill. Remy on imaginary graves, put my hat on my waist. Latter-day Saints sing religious praise. Like, this nigga imagery is second to none, fam. Like, spilling Remy on imaginary graves, put my hat on my waves. Like, come on, most niggas would have just said through the fitted on, through the cap on. Like this nigga Nas imagery, like, is just second to none. I also got damn, what else I got? From Take It, what is that? Take It in Blood. I know this is off It Was Written. I can't remember what joint this off of. No, this is off Nas Is Coming. Compared to these niggas who swear to be the real but imposters, the Hoffa, Nas player kills, counting bills to send tall by jail niggas who fail from New York to LA, QB to CPT from GP, 100 G cars, Garcia Vega cigars, Knife shit, Mad G Key, the clout, murder material with cereal scratched out. My name is passed out like it's something venereal, but it's in stereo. Like, fam. Like, fuck is you talking about, bro? Like,
I feel like that's a slept on joint too. Cause
like Nas Is Coming. That shit get a lot of flack, bro. Like, that
I thought the
shit
shit was dope personally. I
just think a lot of East Coast heads didn't want to hear that West Coast style production, but I mean, it was crazy.
Like, some of Nas' best bars from off It Was Written is on Nas Is Coming, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
like, that shit is hard. Like, he was floating all over that shit. I got this line, the opening line from the Black Bond from Life Is Good. Like, he was really on some shit with this. He say, I pull a string on a lamp as shit darkens. I'm living in an elegant Moroccan apartment. Proletariat chick sparking. Combo weak, and I don't really care for her jargon. He called his female a proletariat. Like, a fucking proletariat is like low class, like working class, like, he basically referring to himself as he royalty. He say, I'm living in an elegant Moroccan apartment. Proletariat chick sparking. She smoking. Combo weak. And I don't really care for her jargon. I ain't trying to hear nothing Shorty talking about, but she bad. So here we are. But, like, just that opening line was, like, crazy to me. Like, the Black Bond, I love that joint. Like, I wish that wasn't a bonus track and he could have found somewhere to put that in the track list of Life Is Good. But that's definitely a standout line. And last, I got from The Message, 96 ways I made out, Montana way, the good FELLA, verbal AK spray, dip the tachi, jump out the range, empty out the ashtray, a glass of Zay, make a man cash as clay. What? Jump out the range, empty out the ashtray, a glass of Zay makes a man cash as clay. Like, come on, bro. Like, this nigga was it nobody spitting like this nigga Nasir Ben Alu Dara Jones in 96, bro. Like, nobody, bro. Like, this nigga was on another planet, bro. He was definitely on another planet, man.
Yeah.
Honorable mention, though. Honorable mention. It's simple as hell, but I don't know no other rapper that would have said this. On Rich and Black, off Raekwon Shaolin versus Wu-Tang. That motherfucker said, verse 2 gotta be all murder, just like the first verse. Tim's yellow like the hair on a Malibu surfer. Like, it's so awkward and it's simple, but it's like, the fuck, bro? What you be thinking? Like, what you be smoking when you be writing this shit? Tim's yellow like the hair on a Malibu surfer. Like, it's so simple and it's awkward as hell, but it's like, that shit hit when I heard it. Like, bro, this nigga different, man.
Yeah, true indeed. The first joint, I got, like Vague said, Thief's theme. That I'd take Summers off because I love Winter Beefs. Like, you know what I mean? That just was just dope to me. Second joint, I got the first verse off of You the Man. What'd he say? Nas too real, Nas true king. It's however you feel. Go ahead, you swing. Your arms too short to box with guys. I don't kill soloists, only kill squads. That joint was crazy to me right there. I'm like, yo, this nigga's in his bag. The whole, like Eddie said, the whole To me, the whole "I Gave You Power," I love the whole entire song. You know what I mean? I always tell people it's the importance of the third verse. Without that third verse, it doesn't tie anything together. My only beef with "I Gave You Power," me and my man Rooch used to sit around and say this. I just wish he didn't say it's like I was a fucking gun.
Yeah,
like just spit, like and let us get it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like
who
I know that's petty, but it was like we said, Porsche.
Tupac did that. He let he let the listeners do it. And I think that's where maybe it was different because Tupac did that for me and my girlfriend. He never tells you it's a gun. So
yeah, it was just kind of like me and Bruce were sitting around listening to it, like, "Yo, nigga, we get it. You ain't have to, we good, my nigga. You ain't have to tell us. It's like I'm a fucking gun."
Right.
You know what I mean? A song nobody ever talks about. It's one of my favorite Nas songs, man. Fucking Watch Them Niggas. Now, how can I perfect it? Living reckless, die for my necklace, crime affected, driving a Lexus with a death wish, jet and checking my message on the speaker, bopping the Mona Lisa, brown reefer, 10 G's, gun in my Visa, CD cranking, doing 100 on the Franklin D. Roosevelt, no seatbelt, drinking and thinking. Like, again, like, I mean, I think when I'm walking away with this show is because I tell niggas, even at 46, I'm still learning hip hop, man. He literally may be the most vivid rapper MC of all time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because and I remember hearing this. I'm driving through Philly on the expressway, no seatbelt on. I'm just like, yo, this is me right now. Like, yo, this nigga is like I'm literally driving with no seatbelt on, like, just thinking about whatever. It's like, yo, so the imagery that Nas got is just is like y'all said, second to none. Yo, Locomotive, man. Like, again, we say the truth is the truth. I really put my scars on niggas. They wear them like they lifetime. They tell they hoes Nas did this, pointing to their scars. Like, no, really, baby, really Nas did this. like, yo, can you imagine a nigga having $150 on his face and telling his girl, like, yo, baby, come here, look at this. Yo, Nas did this. Like, yo, keep going, like a badge of honor. Not bragging, I'm just boasting. War stories, we tell them nothing realer than karma. I mean, like, yo, just crazy, man. Just crazy. So tell me this. For me, Nas is number 3 of all time for me on my GOAT. He's number 3. If I take out Illmatic, I honestly don't think he moves. And that's just for me. He doesn't move, because my number 1 is Big, 2 is Jay, 3 is Nas, 4 is Rakim, 5 is KRS. I feel like with everything that Nas has done from It Was Written On, still holds him solid at that number 3 spot. Truth be told, just after doing research for this show and Mike's show, and this nigga Nas may be my number 2. You know what I mean? Like, so in his bug, because when Porsche sent me this, I was like, all right, I know that nigga gonna slip. He probably gonna slip out top 5, without Illmatic. But like, nah, I think that nigga is steady at number 3, and if not, he may fucking leapfrog Jay. You know what I mean? Even without Illmatic. So everybody watching, you're missing out on a lot of good shit. If you're really stuck in your Illmatic bag and you're not, he may stay right there. Porsche, what about you? Is Nas moving? Is he drifting? What's going on?
Cemented as my number 2. He's always been my number 2, and that has never had anything to do with Illmatic. So for me, he doesn't move. He's just that rapper. Like, to me, the only rapper I got above him is Big. And for all of the things that we're mentioning, I just, for whatever reason, but Nas is fantastic. He's a brilliant storyteller. He's just so good at the craft of having the depth, having the flow, having the concepts. And and one of the things that kind of cements him for me is that despite all of the hate and all of the stuff, that feedback that fans give about each project, he still challenges himself in his own way. He doesn't really listen to what's going on too much with everybody else and their opinions. I feel like his only competitor is his himself. And I feel like that's reflective in his entire catalog. That's why we don't get all the things that people are always asking for. How come there's no Nas and Primo joint? How come he didn't just have a large pro joint? Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he just doesn't listen to that. And I love it. So for me, number 2, not moving ever.
All right, no doubt. See, what about you? Where's Nas in your top 10? Let me ask this. I'm assuming he is. I don't want to, is Nas in your top 10?
Nas has been my number 1 since I can remember. I feel like Big, not to his own fault. Sadly, he was taken from us way too soon. Right. Big might have, I can't even say Big might have still been my number 1. I just know that Big never got the opportunity to give us more. 2 albums, 2 incredible albums, both classics in my opinion. But Big never got a chance to take us to that another level. I feel like he got taken from us as soon as he hit that next plateau, which was life after death. And I feel like he has so much more to give, but Nas's career has just been, it's been crazy. But the way I gauge this, I understand it's more attributes and shit that comes into play that would make somebody call somebody their favorite rapper. For me, it was Big, the persona, how Puff took the Heavy D approach and dressed him up, but he was dope. But I kind of like close my eyes and put all these rappers in the dark. Fuck what they look like. Fuck they style. Fuck they fashion. Fuck all that. Who speaks to my soul when I listen? And like I said, it was always Nas. You know what I'm saying? Biggie, don't get me wrong. I fuck with Big. I fuck with Jay. Fuck with X. Fuck with Pun, Twista, all these dudes. But at the same time, Nas spoke to me in a way and had an impact on me that the others just fell just short of. You know what I'm saying? So maybe if Big was still around and gave us 12 more albums or however many more albums, maybe they might be closer. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it's Nas. And with taking Illmatic away, it does nothing. Because like I said, like I feel like Nas Escobar, especially It Was Written Nas, will wipe the fucking floor with Illmatic Nas. And a lot of people might disagree, but 96 Nas was like 91, 92, 93 Jordan. Like the nigga flow, his imagery, his cadence, like this man can, he's one of the few that can actually say he introduced new styles into this rap shit. If you listen to any of these niggas, that underground niggas that you think is dope, they all have remnants of that particular Nas and they shit, myself included. I definitely patterned a lot of my shit after him early on in my career before I became a grown man and grew into my own. Like, nah, man. Like, let's go.
All right. So he's solid for you. Veg, what about you? Does Nas move? Does he slip? Where do you have him before this show, and where do you have him now if we take Illmatic out?
I still have him in my top 5, even without Illmatic. For a lot of what we already talked about, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of bars there that we put out that just other dudes just wasn't rapping like that. You know what I'm saying? They may have had different styles. They may have comparable verses, but you really only talking about other people in your top 5 when you use that word against somebody like Nas. And for me, it was a little bit different on speaking personally, because Illmatic didn't hit me the same way it hit everybody else. Obviously, I've been a hip hop fan from day one of the biggest hip hop fans. But when somebody's that close to you and they get a deal, and and especially the situation, given the fact that my cousin was just as into it as Nas was. He was right there with him with some of those recordings, like Back to the Grill Again and stuff like that. So to have him, get murdered, and and It Was Written come out, even when, like, before It Was Written, when I used to go to QB and he got his first couple of videos, like when he did Halftime, and he brought the video over to my aunt's crib and we all watched it. And same thing with other videos after that. Illmatic just was different for me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't what everybody else, was just minds was blown, because this was somebody I knew, and it was hard for me to shake everything surrounding it, including knowing him. Later on, obviously, I got, appreciation for him as a rapper, but like the dude T said, It Was Written came out. All of that went out the window. You know what I'm saying? The eye for an eye verse, verbal intercourse, all of that shit went out the window because then I could really see like, yo, Nasir is really, really dope. Like he's not just a dude that can rap that I know. Like he's really dope. Like he's one of the biggest, MCs going right now. So for me, again, it's easy for him to stay there because he just got too much. He got too many bars to draw from. I just spit half a damn verse from a freestyle on a mixtape that most niggas don't have. You know what I'm saying? and you could hear what's there, and we all said it: the imagery, the storytelling, just the wordplay, being a trendsetter at the time. He just has too much going for him to not be in your top 5.
I agree. All right, so he stays firm with you. Eddie, what's up with you? Does Nas dip? Does he move? What happens with Nas with No Illmatic?
Yeah, it doesn't move the needle for me. And the reason Nas is always in my top 5, probably top 3. It might fluctuate, but for me, the key is that he didn't hit his lyrical peak. He wasn't at his lyrical peak on Illmatic. I think I agree with what T said, what Vegas said, what everyone said. Like, It Was Written was his lyrical peak. And then from there, like whether you like the beats on the album or whatnot, he still displayed his talents. He still gave you that imagery. He still gave you the stories. He gave you different types of albums. Like he didn't give you the same album twice. So yeah, man, I think all that work is really what put him up there. And the fact that he came out with Life Is Good in 2012 and now with King's Disease, showing his longevity. I know King's Disease, the jury's still out, but I feel it's a dope album. Lyrically, I think he's still saying some stuff, maybe not as sharp as he once was, but he's still putting out the dope work. So that's really what it is for me.
All right, so everybody got Nas staying steady, which is shocking. It's weird always going into these shows because Portia will give me the topic or we get the topic on Monday and then we figure it out. And I thought throughout the week that he was going to slip. It was just, my first instinct. But then after doing Mike's show, after doing this show, after hearing everything, it's like, it's crazy that you think somebody's going to slip and they actually just fucking leapfrog somebody else. You know what I mean? Just, being able to hear all this. Let me say this, y'all. Maybe around 2020, I've been married 20 years, maybe about 5 years ago, 2015, 14, I was like, look, I have a problem with saying I'm wrong. You know what I mean? And I said, it's fucking up my marriage. It's not letting me be the best dad I can be because I can't admit when I'm wrong. So I had the epiphany that I'm going to admit when I am wrong. Like, it got so deep. I was calling niggas like, yo, my bad, I was wrong. The Heat should have drafted Dwayne Wade and not TJ Ford back in 2003. Like, I literally, yes, everybody, in 2003, I was a big Texas fan. I was like, fuck D Wade. I don't know nothing about him. Take TJ Ford. I know. But it literally was that bad. Like, I'm calling niggas like from 8 years ago, like, yo, bro, I was wrong about that time. Woo. I was wrong about saying Nas was not in his bag on King Disease. I was wrong. Me and T talked about it. Me and Veg and Porsche just talked about it. I have no pride. I say this on timeline all the time. Life would be easier if we could admit when we're wrong. It's not that fucking bad. I don't know nobody money. I'm not getting snuffed at the end of the show. Nobody's gonna jump me. Like, it's okay to say, yo, I was wrong. Because truth be told, yo, I've been listening to King Disease all week. And when I heard it last Friday, I was like, it's dope, 3.5, 4, but I doubt I'll ever listen to it again. I haven't really stopped listening to it. You know what I mean? I threw the Ransom on. I heard Ransom going. I was like, Nas ain't going the same, but Nas is still going. But I just realized again, Vague, Porsche, T, they're two different lanes. You know what I mean? Upgoing. You know what I mean? So I'm wrong. I was wrong. Nas, I think, is still in his bag. There's definitely some shit on there, or especially The Cure. Like, I can listen to The Cure on repeat just forever. You know what I mean? So just hip hop epiphany moment here. Kill admitting he is wrong. You know, I apologize, everybody. You know, went back and forth a couple of times. I have no problem saying I was wrong. Y'all are right. Let's chop it up real quick about King's Disease. Porsche, what are your thoughts on the album? I know it's only been a week. I know we live in a society where you gotta. I'm not asking for a solidified mic stamping, but just what are your thoughts on it? Dope album, yay, nay. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I said this on Mike's podcast too, and I'll say it again and again and again. I like the album a lot. I think that Nas came correct. I think the only part where he was incorrect was putting Big Sean on the album. I think that guy is a waste of a verse.
Damn.
Yeah, it is. It is a waste of a verse. And people are like, no, but you know, he's dope and you got to listen to him on this. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what? That was my first impression and he kind of bombed it. So I'm off it. Other than that, I think like I like most of the track list. Honestly, the only two parts that I don't really mess with, obviously, is Big Sean. And I think that Foxy Brown, and I said this on Mike's podcast as well, I think Foxy sort of wanted to be 97 Foxy, and I just wanted her to be 2020 Foxy. It sounded a little forced to me. She had like a weird delivery, and that's not her bag at all. Like, she's never sounded like that before, so I don't know why she tried that here. So those were the only two sort of misses for me, but other than that, I mean, I don't mind. No, I don't mind. I don't mind the rest of the features, honestly.
Interesting.
And yeah, and while I'm not solidifying a mic rating, I'm pretty comfortable saying that it's a 3.5, 3.5 solid, 4 on a really good day, if that makes sense. So 3.5 to 4.
All right, what you got on it, T?
As far as the rating, I'll probably say the same, 3.5 to 4. I could have did without the last joint, which is like the bonus cut. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but it just I could have did without it. I think it's solid, man. I think this is just another step in the evolutionary process of Nasir Jones. I actually look at this album as like Life is Good 1.5. You know what I'm saying? Because he touched on some of the topics that he did. He didn't mention it by name, but he referenced his relationship with Khalees. It's just more personal. Is along those lines as Life is Good. You know what I'm saying? Like, Life is Good was a real personal album, and I just feel like he kind of got away from that with the Lost Tapes 2 and with the Nasir joint, and he got back to that with this one. So the only real drawback, I would have loved to hear some harder shit as far as the Firm joint. It was kind of like him, AZ, and Mega talking about past love interests, and then Foxy just coming in on her 97 Diva shit. I would have loved to hear everybody along the lines of what Foxy was doing, but it's not a bad album at all. The 27 Summers, like, I love hearing Esco switch up the style. I wish that was a little longer. The intro, straight to the point, King's Disease, like you said, The Cure. Like, I listened to it. This is probably what I've been listening to the most as well. I kind of put Ransom on the side for a minute and my special to the side for a minute just to focus on this, and I fuck with it. Definitely better than Nasir, which I didn't think Nasir was terrible, but it's definitely a step up from that. I like it better than Lost Tapes 2. This is right there with Life is Good for me. Life is Good is a solid 4. This one is 3.5 to 4. Like, I agree with Porsche.
It's crazy because I really think me and probably Kanye's daughter North are the only people who like Nasir. Like, I'm not like, we're the only two people in the whole world. Kanye don't even like that shit. I'm like, it's just me and North sitting around listening to this shit. You know, Babe, what do you think of King's Disease?
I like it. I think it's a good album for what it is. I think Hit Boy did an excellent job of producing Nas for this album, unlike with Nasir, where him and Kanye didn't really get to like work together on it, and you can hear it and how it turned out. But yeah, I like this album a lot, more than I thought I would. Like, on the first listen, I was like, oh, it's cool. But when I go back and you know, I go back for a third and a fourth listen, I like it a lot more. And I'm kind of with Porsche because the Big Sean joint, I didn't mind on the first listen, but it was something weird about it. And when I listened again, I was like, they just don't sound like they know each other. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sean flow was weird as hell on that. I don't know
yeah,
what he was going for on his flow, but his flow was a little weird to me.
yeah,
He
it was just
said
really off.
you like
He
stars.
raps better than that. He raps better than
He
that, but
does.
his
This is
flow
the
on that shit was
problem.
weird.
Like he said something to the effect of like you like stars, so your power is like a star. And I'm like, what kind
Yeah,
of
he said you like stars, but just like the stars, you got power. It was what?
I'm like, who wrote that? 2-year-old nephew could come up with a better bar than that. Like, come on, he doesn't speak English. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, he's definitely better than that. I think that's what kind of threw me off, because I'm not the biggest Big Sean fan at all. But that kind of threw me with the whole, hey, I got my New York walk, and I got my Detroit soul. I was just like, man, shut the fuck up. Turn this shit off. But it, like, again, it ain't the worst song in the world to me. You know what I'm saying? There'll probably be times where I'll just let it rock, because the album, for me, I like short and sweet albums. Like you get to the point, it's just enough there to get what you want from the album, and it has replay value. So
Yeah.
I like it. I would probably I'm around the same thing with everybody, like around 3.5 to 4, probably leaning more towards 4, because right now I got it in my top 5 of the year. So
all right, and Ed, what you got on it?
Yeah, man, probably around the same rating, between 3.5 to 4. Definitely gonna live with it more, but I think like that second listen is when it really started to click for me, for sure. But I think the first 5 songs to me, just flawless. Like, but I feel like that Big Sean song kind of ruined the momentum. And then the Wars one, like the way it started, I like the way Nas was rapping on that joint. But then when Lil Durk came in with that auto tune, like I'm just not a fan of that auto tune. Even though, like, I gotta say, what Lil Durk was saying tied in with the theme of the song. So at least it didn't go left.
Right.
I just wasn't a fan of the auto tune. I'll say that song ain't as bad as, I could see why people rock with it. But then I was saying All Bad, and then the rest of the album just pick right back up, and got strong. Like, the Full Circle joint, I agree. I think, I've been joking. I've been saying Foxy sound like the evil Lupita from Us. When she came out and started talking with that deep kind of funky voice, that's what I got from Foxy on that. So it kind of jilted me at first, like threw me off, like, whoa. Now that I'm listening to it more, that I got used to it, it's like, all right, cool. But yeah, that kind of threw me off. But no, it was good, man. I think Nas, subject matter wise, and how he was rapping and all that, is a dope album, and very very current. So it was dope.
Yeah, no doubt. And the other thing that Veg said, man, I do want to give props to Hit Boy, because I think production wise, it was just dope. You know what I mean? Like, and I know a lot of people were like, oh, Hit Boy, like, I don't even know about that. But I'm like, yo, I heard some shit Hit Boy gave Conway that sounded fucking stupid. So I think Hit Boy, he's, looked at as a certain kind of producer. So I think this was probably enjoyable for him too, to be able to go in his bag and show people similar to Trackmasters. Because I knew a lot of backpackers who were like Hit Boy and Nas, and I'm like, just wait, just give it a break, and I think that's the thing. So like, I think he was excited, like, because I know niggas is like, damn, Hit Boy did The Cure, or Hit Boy did, what's the joint, Blue Benz, like, so I think Hit Boy enjoy being able to go in his bag and kind of show people something different, and for him to say, yo, I got Big Sean next, and me and Benny got an album coming out, so I think he's enjoying that run too. And I'm just like, would see me and somebody was on the timeline going back and forth, because I was like, yo, I hear the Firm reunion, I'm ready for bars. I don't want to hear about no Black Queens like that. No, y'all know I love Black Queens, but let's do a song. You do that over there. Like, if we doing a Firm reunion, I'm like, this is like a fucking symphony reunion when niggas talking about to eat healthy. Like, nigga, like, that's great, but I don't want to I don't want the new Locks album tonight to be like the posse cuss to be about drinking green smoothies. Like, yo, we want the bars or whatever. So that's the thing. Let me ask y'all this, because I'm wondering, Vig, like you said, the person you met who said, you know, after Illmatic, I stopped listening to Nas. It's almost like, and we did a show about this, like, you know, because people love to say, oh, I want to see our artists grow. I want to see our artists do more things. And it's like, well, do you really want to see them grow? Like, you know, like, do you really want Pusha rhyming about, you know, being married now and taking his daughter to school? No, we want Pusha talking about coke. Like, that's what we want, you know?
It just is what it is.
Yeah. And I'm just wondering for people to say that, because I know people who feel the same way about Outkast. I know diehard hip hop heads that were like, after that second album, I checked out. Once your man started dancing on stage with fucking football uniforms on and green wigs, like, I was going. So I know niggas who have never heard of Quimini, because they literally were like, yo, I stopped listening after that. So do y'all think just that's what people want from Nas? Like, that's it? Like, they're just trapped in the 90s. I don't want you with Hit Boy. I don't want you with nobody. Because it's still shocking me that in 2020, where people are still saying, I want Nas with y'all are literally saying the original lineup, like verbatim.
What I think it is, I heard a lot of motherfuckers say or question, why is Nas steady doing this with this person, this with that person? Why he not getting with a Rock Marcy? Why he not getting with this person or that one? It's kind of like they want him to go back to that It Was Written shit, but with the new crop of like New York underground MCs. That's what I think most Nas fans want. But how I was saying to you when we was on Twitter is like, Nas is always tightrope that commercial real hip hop shit. He never really wanted to go too far either way. Now, as an artist, as himself, he's from that era. He's a true lyricist. He's a true MC. But he always had shit like You Owe Me, or If I'll Rule the World, or I Can, or whatever. He always had a single, if not a couple. So it's kind of like he always tiptoed that shit to where it was accessible to mainstream, but it was also appreciated by the real heads. So I don't think we'll ever, and I said this to you, Kill, I don't think we'll ever get a project to where it's totally produced by Premier. It's totally produced by Large Professor. It's totally produced by Alchemist. He might toy with that shit and have him with a couple of joints, but not. He referred to himself as the Don, and I feel like to him that's going backwards. He said it on one of the songs on here. You want my old shit? What he say? Listen to the Clue tapes verses. Or some shit like. Yeah, listen to the Clue verses. So, and I hear a lot of old MCs say that. Jay said it. You want my old shit by my old tapes, like. And I understand because it's kind of disrespectful as the evolution as just an adult. Fuck being a man, just an adult. Like I'm different. He's a different individual. This nigga damn near 50. He's a different individual than the Nasir Jones from '96. Like. Mm-hmm. Maybe he can't even give you a full project of that shit, which I doubt that's the case. But he probably, this motherfucker got all types of investments. You know what I'm saying? He always rapping about the fly linens and relationships only lasting 3.5 months. And you know what I'm saying? Like this nigga is probably mentally the furthest from that. So I would love to hear that. Like I told you, I would love to hear a whole album of Star Wars Nas. Like that's really what I want. But at the same time, I understand that I can't be who I was at 16 as an MC, who I am now as a 34-year-old man with 2 kids. Right. It's just impossible. You know what I'm saying? So I'm here for the ride.
I just came to a realization. I just came to a realization with what T the guy was saying, because you know he's right. Like Nas always had them joints, even on Untitled, which was his supposedly conscious album.
The Chris Brown shit.
He had the joint with Chris Brown. He had the joint with Kerry Hilson. But I just came to a realization about why people were so disappointed in Lost Tapes 2. You know, because Lost Tapes was pretty much as close as we got, like outside of Illmatic, and it was Lost Tape was the closest we got to a full album of that kind of Nas, even though it was a compilation. Right. So. And we know that Nas is always going to give you that variety. So I feel like with Lost Tapes 2, we're like, a lot of fans were like, all right, this is our opportunity to get that. And when they didn't get it, that's why it was more, um, and I know comparing it to Lost Tapes 1 and all that, but I really think that's what it is because we know Nas is always going to give you certain songs.
Well, I can say for me, Lost Tapes 2, I ain't fuck with it because I felt like it was shit that wasn't dope enough to make the album. Lost Tapes 1 was the shit that was supposed to make albums.
But got leaked early.
So, to me, that's why like that Al Jarreau shit shouldn't have been ever recorded. Nobody, the engineer shouldn't even hit record on that. Like, oh no, we ain't even hit play and record at the same time. So, but that's what I mean. Like, I guess that's the box that if we're putting Pusha in the cocaine box, that certain people just want Nas in that underground box. Like T, like you were saying, even if it's not now, you want him with Derringer. Like, you don't want him to come outside of that box of underground. Even though he's made dope stuff, to me, that's not underground. Like, and that's the thing that's making me even respect Nas even more now because I actually like that shit. What's the last joint on there? Spicy or whatever?
Yeah.
I actually like this shit. Now, normally I would have been like, the fuck is this? But Nas is able to pull it off, but then I also know that there are people who just don't like Veg. That's amazing to me that somebody is like, yo, I've been listening to nothing after Illmatic. Like, but it's
that's
the same
super
thing.
Narrow-minded. It's
the same thing when people tell me they never heard anything past ATL. So I'm like, yo, you never heard Return of the Gangster? You ain't hear 3000. Like, do you know what you're missing? Veg, what do you think? Like, is that it? Like, people. Is that who I'm assuming that's who Nas is talking about? The stuck in the 90s niggas, the niggas who just don't.
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. He talking about those dudes who want him to be Project Hallway, Chip Tooth, breaking up weed on the staircase,
pissy elevators. Been gone for years, bro.
Bench.
It's gone.
Yeah, the basketball court bench. Like they want that Nas full time all the time. And what they don't realize is 94 was a long fucking time ago. Like that was a long time ago. So if you asking someone to basically, like, put it this way, like even with me writing rhymes since I was 14, you know what I'm saying? I've done every concept I can imagine I would want to do. You know what I'm saying? I've done every song I can imagine I would want to do. So you're kind of looking for inspiration, and every now and again you want to get in that bag. Every now and again he want to give you a record that harkens back, like Locomotive, that harkens back to that old Nas. But he feels like he'd be cheating his fans if he just regurgitates shit he already did. You know what I'm saying? To him, he's trying to find more. He's trying to find inspiration. Like, for example, I watched his interview with The Breakfast Club, which I thought was great. I mean, he referred to himself as a rapidy rap rapper. Like, I know other people say that about certain rappers, but I never heard somebody like him say that about himself. So he said that's always there in him. He wants to do that, but not for a whole album. You know what I'm saying? Maybe an EP or whatever. But I just think it's a lot of cats who, like not even counting the social media motherfuckers. They're just attention whores that want to be talked to. They say hot takes just for the sake of attention. But even for people like the dude I told you who said that to me, he was dead serious. I didn't even believe him. I was like, you can't be serious. Like, you ain't like The Message. You ain't like Shootouts. You ain't like. He was like, nah, after it was written, I was just like, well, dog, don't talk to me about hip hop at all because who are you? Like,
shit is unfathomable, man.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. You're not even a fan of music if you're checking out because a guy doesn't grow. I'll just give one other example. For me as a fan, like I was a huge Redman fan. Like, you know what I'm saying? What the album, There's a Dark Side, Muddy Waters. And then when Doc's Name came out, where he kind of was getting away from that sound with Eric Sermon, I was just like, dude, but it took me 3 albums. I was like, yo, man, don't do that shit. Keep that funk shit going. And I wound up not really liking a lot of, current Redman shit if it don't sound like that. So I think it's kind of like it works for others and not some. Like Nas has proven he can do more than just Illmatic, whereas somebody like Rick Ross or Currency or even Redman, you feel like they're best at just continuing to do what they're good at. You know what I'm saying? So I think for Nas, he's shown his range, but for other rappers, unfortunately, you know, they're probably better off staying in that same lane.
Right. Porsche, what about you? You think that's what people want Nas? Like they don't want him out that underground box?
I honestly think that fans don't know what they want, and I think that they want something because they're not going to have it. Because if it comes, I know that it's going to be, nah, well, Premier had better beats, and Nas picked the shitty ones, and well, he wasn't in his bag, and how could you screw up a Premier joint, and this and that? Like, it's always going to be something. People say they want this, he's going to give it to them, and it's going to be a disaster. I don't trust the fans. I don't trust fans knowing what they want as much as I believe that it's more the forbidden fruit, I call it. So it's like you chase it and you want it so bad because you know you can't actually ever have it. But then once you get it, you're like, it wasn't, I thought it was going to be dope, but now we didn't need that in 2021. We didn't need that now. That shit should have came out back in 96. That should have came out. It's a lot of things, right? Like we hear it all the time with artists. So I think Nas is doing what he's doing. I love what he's doing. I like that he's not listening to fans. And if he gives us a Premier joint, it's going to be different. So good. Like,
so it's basically so with Nas, basically a damn if I do, damn if I don't.
It is. It's absolutely that. He falls. Okay. I don't want to bring in sports, but he's like LeBron. He's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't. They cannot do anything right ever.
The funny thing, Porch, I was just telling C about this Derrick Rose documentary I was watching. And if y'all remember during the time when Derrick was hurt, and you know the doctors were saying, no, he can come back, and fans and just all this hoopla. And they said he played with a face mask once. And he was like, yo, I'm catching hell for not playing as good, but I'm wearing a mask for the first time. He's like, I can't win. If I don't play, the fans are going to kill me. If I do play with the face mask and I don't have a 50-point game, the fans are going to kill me. Like, there's no winning situation here. You know, and I think, Porsche, again, like you said, I think, and from Vague said, and this is why I love doing these shows and being on other people's podcasts, because I'm constantly learning. Like, my mind is always, my brain is churning, and I'm like, yo, you're right. Like, yo, between Vague knowing Nas saying, yo, Nas wasn't always the Army fatigue nigga. That nigga liked to get fly. You know what I mean? Like, as the hip hop dude, no, you just want Nas and fatigue jersey. You know, I'm not even gonna hold you. Every time if I do a Nas album, I'm like, or doing a mixtape looking for a cover, I always Google nasty Nas. Like, I want the nigga with the fatigue on, you know, whatever like that. And it's funny because I've already done the cover for this show, and it's like totally it's now Nas, but I think that's where Nas has fallen. I think for years I've kind of been in the middle because I know backpackers, like I said, who hate It Was Written. I know people who call it trash. Like, and I'm just like, yo, bro, I have no idea. With a very person who has been on this podcast many times, maybe spin around in my chair, has called that album trash. And I'm just like, yo, this is like how, and this is a hip hop head. This is not like somebody. But I just think when people hear if Nas is not with Premier, Pete Rock, if he's not with these 5 people, nobody cares about it. I know people who are not going to listen to this album just because it's produced by Hip Hop. Like, people have already told me, I'm not even going to listen to that trash. You haven't even heard it. Nah, but that nigga did Niggas in Paris, and I don't like Niggas in Paris. Nigga, I don't like Niggas in Paris, but I'm still listening to this shit. Like, that's not the nigga only beat. So I do think, like, that's the problem. And, you know, like Porsche, like you said, fans don't know what they want. You know, people are always like, grow. But then when you grow, it's like, no, don't grow. Go back.
Come back down here now.
Yeah,
right?
Come back down here.
That's the growth I wanted. It was this growth.
Well, the thing is, my biggest thing has always been just make dope shit. Like, that's it. That's all I want from you. Like, Outkast. Aquemini is nowhere near fucking Southern Playalistics. Southern Playalistics, these dudes are talking about drugs and weed and Benz and Beamers. We stealing cars. We doing this. And by Aquemini, they're not even talking about that. Like, Big is like, yo, I just want to sit back and watch my little girl blow bubbles. Like, and as long as it's dope, that's all we're really asking for. Or that's what I think you should be asking for. Were you going to say that?
And you know, my thing is, you know, we're talking about the artist growth, but are we growing as fans? Because right now, you know what I mean, I'm 40 years old, you know what I mean? I know, you know, goes back to a conversation we had about Breaking Atoms. One of the shows we were talking about Breaking Atoms and how it felt ahead of the time because they were talking about more mature subjects on that album.
Right.
You know, but I think me being older, you know, I listened to it way different. You know, but obviously the album came out when I was young. But albums now, like an album like Life is Good, you know, I'm able to relate to it more, you know, being older. You know, now I have kids, you know, or a kid, you know, I'm listening to more mature stuff. So the route that Nas is going, I mean, look at that. And Nas is older than me. I'm 40. Nas is older than me. So if I'm going through certain things in my life, having certain experience, why would I expect that the MCs are? Why would I expect that they would stay the same? You know what I mean? Life is a journey. So I just wonder about, you know, hip hop fans' heads that, you know, their taste never evolves. I don't get that, you know. I want things that I could relate to at this point in my life, essentially.
What you gonna say, Beck?
I was gonna say what a lot of hip hop fans miss out on is that, you know, hip hop is at a different place now because if we're just looking at Jay-Z and Nas, there were a lot of the rappers that came before them didn't have that longevity, so they're the first. You know what I'm saying? To have that kind of longevity, and I'm not like shitting on somebody like Too Short or somebody like that, but I'm just saying as far as when they're dropping the album, they still have that same level of anticipation that they did when they were younger. You know what I'm saying? And I think with the game being still relatively young, a little bit, I think 47 years now. Like Eddie said, you know, it's you got to evolve. The game is evolving because it's older now. It was different before. We could have all those rules and shit when hip hop was like 20. It's just like adolescence. You know what I'm saying? Like hip hop was young, so we want diss records. We want shit to be wow. Everybody diss this person and that person. But now we're looking at a rapper who has longevity, serious longevity, and it's not just hits in a way that, not no disrespect to LL Cool J, but it's a little bit different for Nas and Jay-Z. They still have a huge impact on us and younger fans when they release music at this point in time, and they can still do huge shows. They not on these cards where, you know, it's, you know, you go see the show as Jay-Z, Nas, Big, Rockefeller. You know, they not at that level. They almost at a Rolling Stones level where they gonna have fans and still pack out stadiums or whatever. And I think a lot of fans is not moving along with the culture. Fuck the artists. They're not moving along with the culture. The culture is older. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think it's hard for a lot of people to come to grips with that because some people just don't want to grow up. They think they're giving up something. They think they're giving up Illmatic for liking King's Disease. When it's like, nigga, like it all. You know what I'm saying? If you like him, like it all. And what you don't like, you don't like. So I think, you know, it's a lot of insecurity in hip hop in general. And I think a lot of people just need to realize that there are younger cats out there who are giving you what you're looking for in Nas. Buy them. Listen to them. You know what I'm saying? It's all hip hop. So yeah, that's just kind of how I felt about it.
I think because like we, if you look at it, we like the second generation hip hop fans. Like the first generation was kind of like the Sugar Hill Gang and Melly Mel and shit, and probably Rakim and Run DMC and Kane and G Rap. We either second or third. I mean, I'm probably the youngest one here, but I feel like we second, borderline third generation, probably second generation rap fans. So it's a lot of immaturity in that. So I could see where all the back and forth come from. Motherfuckers not really knowing what they want, because even though some of these dudes is my age and maybe a little older, that's not old. Like, I don't subscribe to 30 and 40 being old. So it's still a lot of immaturity in that, in certain areas when you grew up on something and that burned an impression into your childhood, and you carry that with you into who you are now. So if we only second generation hip hop fans or rap fans, it's kind of like, it's to be expected. And just sitting back and in retrospect looking at the shit, it's kind of like, it makes sense. As goofy as it is, the shit it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I feel you. And then, like Nas said, niggas is in their second childhood. So niggas are 40 and 45 trying to do shit that they was doing. Niggas like, niggas go through midlife crises. These shits are real, okay? Like, don't let me keep it a buck with y'all. Midlife crises are real. So, niggas are in their second childhood. All right, T the Guy, tell me again one more time, where can they get the album, the title of the album, everything?
Before we close out, can I say one more thing just about Nas, just to wrap it up? And I'll be quick, I promise. Sorry to keep you guys late. I just want to say that for people who don't really realize, Nas is also a whole entire entrepreneur on the side. So his business acumen is like, he's always been under the radar. My favorite thing about Nas is that he's always kind of been low key with his moves, his business moves. He secures the bag every single time, and he's never loud about it. And he moves so under the radar with it, but he is a powerhouse venture capitalist. Like he's a co-owner of a Canadian actually company that based out of Quebec that does audio, digital mixing and mastering. He's got shares or interest in Lyft, in Dropbox. He sold for $40 million something called Ring Inc. to Amazon. He's got partnership with Hennessy. Like he's just got a lot going on the business side that we never hear about because he's not as loud about it as other artists are or MCs are. So I just want to
shout at Jay Porsche.
I mean, like,
was that a shot at Jay?
Jay, Puff, 50, like Dre, it's everybody. Everybody.
You know what the thing too? Not Nas will name drop it, but he'll do it smoothly. Like I heard him dropping a lot of those on King's Disease, but he does it in a smooth way. You know what I mean?
It's
like
subtle,
you know, right?
And the thing is like I wrote an article about Nas a couple years ago, and this was my favorite aspect of him. So if people want to know, like, go search and learn about all of the business moves that Nas does, because he has a hand in all these very, very young businesses that are all young. He supports young entrepreneurs and their startup businesses. That's his bag. Like that's his lane. And I love that. Like he's got investments in his daughter's makeup line, all of this kind of stuff. So this man is brilliant. He is brilliant. So go learn about Nas the businessman as well as Nas the MC, because he's so much more than Illmatic. I just want to say that.
Agreed.
I think that'll be the title of the show. So much more than Illmatic.
Hey, it's only fitting.
All right. So much more than Illmatic. All right, no doubt, Porsche. Still looking for that. All facts too. So T the God, tell them where they get the album, the Bandcamp, everything about it.
Once again, you can get the album. The album is called I Am God. T the God and Max Julian, I Am God. You can get it at God's Gift, GAWDSGIFT.bandcamp.com. And it's also available on all major streaming platforms. And one quick thing about the title, because I didn't really explain that throughout the project. The God shit with me is not meant to be blasphemous. So I know I've seen people talking about religion lately more than other times. If you notice, it's not spelled G-O-D. I'm not trying to claim to be omniscient or all-knowing or nothing like that, even though I do play with it with the word play like that sometimes. But the God shit is an acronym, and the meaning behind God is getting ahead without devolving. So when I say I am God, I live by that. I stand on that. That translates into I am getting ahead without devolving, meaning I'm going to get to where I want to go in life without selling my soul, compromising my morals, my code of ethics, my manhood, all of the above to get a bag, a look, an opportunity, anything. But it's out, godsgift.bandcamp.com. Eddie, I appreciate you. I just got the notification for you copying the hard copy. I appreciate that. The hard copies is out, limited quantities. Get them before they gone. All major streaming platforms. Shout out Chicago, Max Julian. We did it. More coming. T to God. Remember that name.
Quick question, bro. What's your favorite song on here?
Oh shit, man.
I know that's hard to answer.
Yeah,
I know it is, but
I had to say Shakespeare.
Yo, that's funny. That's my favorite joint too.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, Shakespeare, and I got Leave Them Stuck with the Rudy Gobert joint. How it switches.
Yeah, everybody was like, bro, that might be the hardest line of the year. I'm like, nigga, I'm surprised ain't no other rap nigga said that line yet. Like, I thought I was late. I was waiting for motherfucker to say, oh, you biting, what's the name? You biting who out the band? I'm like, shit, I'm surprised, but yeah. I like the Shakespeare shit.
I got them two joints, and I got that More Than Drill music joint, man.
Yeah, More Than Drill is definitely dope.
That's Max. That's the producer favorite shit. More Than Drill music. To tell the truth, I wasn't really high on it. Like, it don't get me wrong, I like it, but I wasn't like overly hyped about the shit. Like, he loved that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool. I feel like Shakespeare is a more refined version of More Than Drill music. You know what I'm saying?
That. Yeah.
Shakespeare is more refined. It's just certain lines that I'm like, ooh, shit, I was in my bag when I wrote that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I stole on niggas, you stole out your mama purse and shit, and I take the fear and hate here and turn it into Shakespeare. It's like, I was on my shit with that one. I was focused when I was penning that one. So that's if I had to say anything, that's probably my favorite shit. But the Rudy Gobert, Leave Them All Sick shit, the fucking Guys with Pistols Bite the Bullet. Like, we just wanted to stay consistent through this shit. We wanted, like, a lot of albums, like, they start off hard and then they let you down slowly as it progresses.
Yep.
We wanted to punch motherfuckers in the mouth and take a tooth every song. Like, that was the goal. Like, I wanted to hit a motherfucker upside the head every song. And it did. The mood kind of switched, but I feel like even when a tone switched, it was still hard. Like, the spook who stepped in a booth. That's some real shit about the current times, but it's still hard. The Day of the Dead, that's an electric guitar sample, but it's still hard. Thirsty is a story, it's almost kind of laid back, but it's still hard. So everything is hard, and we definitely accomplished that goal that I set out to, you know what I'm saying, accomplish with that shit. Like, we definitely executed. I'm real proud of that.
No doubt, no doubt. Where can they get at you with Twitter and IG?
Twitter @TTheGawd. That's TTHEGAWD. IG is the same, TTHEGAWD. YouTube is T the God Visuals. So just throw visuals plural on the end of that T the God, and you got it. That's how we rocking.
No doubt. Veg, let them know where they can get at you, good brother.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Vegas World INC, and you can check out my podcast, Hip Hop Now Podcast, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And also, I got a second episode coming out to the boxing podcast I host along with Tony from Into the Dome and Robert, who's a boxing analyst. It's called Championship Rounds Podcast. We got a second episode coming out real soon this Saturday, so check that out.
Can't wait for that.
No doubt, no doubt. Eddie, give him everything, good brother.
I'm on Twitter at EddieD80, and I'm on IG, Eddie Got Soul.
All right, Porsche, give him everything.
Twitter is at Cherchez La Porsche.
That's it?
Yep, that's it.
All right. And she likes Troy, and she hates Drake, everybody. For the 20th fucking time, I don't know how niggas get this wrong every week. I pray for our daughters, man, because I don't know. I pray for them.
See, this is a running joke on this podcast, okay? Yeah. Like, I do not take this seriously at all.
No, it's dead ass serious. Niggas, I'm dead ass, and niggas are just dumb as hell, and I'm just like, God damn, forget it. All right, and y'all know what it is with me, at Kill Apartment 5B on Twitter, Kill 889 on IG, we'll make beats for food.com. I will check y'all next week, y'all.
Yeah, guys.